Old Man Coyote Loses His Appetite, Chapter 22. Hardly was Sammy Jay out of sight, flying towards the old orchard, before Old Man Coyote started out for the green forest. He is very sharp. Old Man Coyote is so sharp, he's not very often that he's fooled. And if Sammy Jay had gone over and told him, what a splendid chance he would have to catch Peter Rabbit. If he'd hurried up to the green forest right away, Old Man Coyote might have suspected a trick of some kind. Sammy, he'd been clever enough to know this. So he had just mentioned in a matter-of-fact way that he'd seen Peter over on Prickly Porky's hill, and that Peter appeared to have been in trouble, so that he was too lame to go home into the dear old briar patch. There wasn't even a hint that Old Man Coyote should go over there. This is what made him sure that this news about Peter was probably true. Now, as soon as Sammy was sure that Old Man Coyote hadn't seen him, he headed straight for the green forest, and the hill where Prickly Porky and Jimmy Skunk and Uncle Billy Possum and Peter and Mrs. Rabbit were waiting. And as he flew over there, he saw Reddy Fox and old Granny Fox stretched flat behind an old log some distance away, but where they could see all that might happen. I knew they'd be on hand, he chuckled. When he reached the others, he reported that he had delivered the message to Old Man Coyote, and that he was very sure, in fact, he was positive that Old Man Coyote was already on his way there, in hope that he'd be able to catch Peter Rabbit. It was decided that everybody but Peter should get out of sight at once. So Uncle Billy Possum climbed a tree, Jimmy Skunk crawled into a hollow log, and Sammy Jay, he hid in the thickest part of the hemlock tree. Prickly Porky got behind the big stump right at the top of the hill, and little Mrs. Peter, with her heart going up pitter-patter, crept into the old house behind the roots of the same old stump. And only Peter was to be seen when at last Old Man Coyote came tipping along the hollow. He came tiptoeing along the hollow at the foot of the hill, as noiseless as a gray shadow. He saw Peter almost as soon as Peter saw him, and the instant he saw him, he stood as still as he could be. He was like stone. Peter took a couple of steps, and it was plain to see that he was lame, just as Sammy had said. That good-for-nothing Jay told the truth for once, thought Old Man Coyote, and with a hungry gleam in his eyes. Whenever Old Man Coyote thought that Peter was not looking this way, he would crawl on his stomach from one tree to another, always getting a little nearer to Peter. He would lie perfectly still when Peter seemed to be looking toward him. Now, of course, Peter knew what was going on, and he took the greatest care not to get more than a couple of jumps away from the old house behind the big stump, where Mrs. Peter was hiding and wishing with all her might that she and Peter were back on the dear old briar patch. It was very still in the green forest, save for the song of the happiness of Red-Eye the Vireo, who, if he knew what was going on, he made no sign. My, but it was exciting for those who were watching. Old Man Coyote had crept halfway up the hill, and Peter was wondering how much nearer he could get to getting him to get away with safety, when suddenly grunting broke out behind him. Peter knew what it meant and jumped to one side. Then down the hill, rolling straight towards Old Man Coyote, started this strange, headless, tailless, legless creature that had so frightened Reddy and Granny Fox. Old Man Coyote took one look, hesitated, looked again, and then turned tail and started for the green meadows as fast as his long legs would take him. It was plain to see that he was afraid, very much afraid. Quite suddenly, he lost his appetite. God is great all the time, all the time. God is great.